A man doesn't usually lose his health all at once. He loses it quietly. It slips away in small compromises he tells himself don't matter. Skipping rest, ignoring pain, eating whatever is fast, working through exhaustion like it's a badge of honor. He tells himself, I'll deal with it later. Later becomes months. Months become years. And one day, his body speaks louder than his pride ever did. When a man's health begins to fail, it rarely affects only him. It affects the people who depend on his strength, his presence, his steadiness. His partner worries in silence. His children sense something is wrong before anyone says a word. The home feels heavier, even if no one talks about it. This is the uncomfortable truth most men avoid. Ignoring your health is not a personal choice. It is a shared risk. When you gamble with your body, you are gambling with your family's stability, with their peace of mind, with the future they quietly trust you to protect. Quiet discipline is not about fear. It is about responsibility, because strength is not proven by how much pain you can ignore, but by how seriously you take the duty to remain standing. And every day you delay taking care of yourself, someone you love is already paying the price. Most men believe responsibility means providing, earning, enduring. They push forward even when the body sends warnings. Tightness in the chest, constant fatigue, restless nights, quiet pain that never fully leaves. They tell themselves they are being strong. But strength without awareness slowly turns into neglect. A man who ignores his health is not choosing toughness. He is postponing consequences. And those consequences rarely arrive alone. When energy disappears, patience follows. When pain becomes constant, presence fades. When exhaustion becomes normal, leadership weakens. A man may still be in the room, but he is no longer fully there. This is where quiet discipline begins to separate itself from ego. Because real discipline asks harder questions. Can you step back before your body forces you to stop? Can you choose long-term stability over short-term sacrifice? Can you protect your family not only with effort, but with foresight? Health is not a reward for success. It is the foundation that allows responsibility to exist at all. Without it, promises become fragile. Plans become uncertain. The family begins adjusting around limitations that should never have been accepted as normal. Taking care of your body is not selfish. It is strategic. It is choosing to remain reliable, to remain present, to remain capable when your family needs you, quietly, consistently, without warning. A disciplined man does not wait for a collapse to change direction. He listens early. He corrects early. Because responsibility does not begin when something breaks. It begins when nothing is broken yet. The most damaging cost of poor health is rarely visible. It doesn't show up on medical bills first. It shows up in the atmosphere of the home. When a man's health declines, the household adjusts quietly. Conversations shorten. Laughter becomes rare. Tension fills the spaces no one knows how to name. A partner learns to carry more without asking. She becomes alert to moods, to pain, to silence, not because she wants control, but because uncertainty forces vigilance. Children notice too. They may not understand symptoms or diagnoses, but they feel emotional shifts instantly. They sense when energy disappears, when patience runs thin, when presence becomes conditional. A father who is constantly exhausted teaches something without words. That adulthood means depletion. That responsibility equals self-neglect. And that ignoring the body is normal. This is not the lesson most men intend to pass down. yet it is absorbed daily. Quiet discipline demands we confront this truth. Health is a form of leadership. The way a man treats his body sets the emotional baseline of the home. It determines whether stability feels solid or fragile, whether the future feels predictable or uncertain. A family does not need perfection. It needs reliability. And reliability is impossible when health is treated as optional. Every skipped checkup, every ignored warning sign, every habit postponed until later adds weight not only to the body, but to the people who rely on it. A disciplined man understands this. Taking care of himself is not about extending his own life alone. It is about protecting the emotional safety of those who live within his orbit. Because when a man weakens, his family doesn't collapse. They compensate. And that quiet compensation is the price they pay. Change rarely begins with fear. It begins with awareness. A disciplined man does not wait for a diagnosis to wake up. He notices patterns before they turn into damage. He listens to fatigue. He respects discomfort. He treats warning signs as information, not obstacles. This is the quiet awakening most men miss. They believe transformation must be dramatic, that it requires collapse, crisis, or a near loss to justify change. But quiet discipline rejects that mindset. Real correction is subtle. It starts when a man stops negotiating with habits that slowly weaken him, when he replaces "I'll push through" with "I'll adjust," when he understands that discipline is not intensity, it is consistency. Small decisions begin to stack, choosing rest without guilt, eating with intention instead of urgency, moving the body not to impress, but to preserve function, scheduling health the same way he schedules responsibility. No applause follows these choices. No one notices. That is the point. A man practicing quiet discipline does not announce his changes. He simply becomes more stable, more patient, more present. The household feels it before it sees it. Energy returns quietly. Reactions soften. Presence becomes reliable again. This is not weakness. This is leadership without noise. A man who takes care of his health is not stepping back from responsibility. He is reinforcing it. Because prevention protects more than treatment ever can, and correction, when done early, spares everyone the cost of collapse. Quiet discipline is choosing to correct course while the ship is still intact, not when it's already taking on water. That choice, repeated daily, is what keeps a man standing long enough to protect the people behind him. Quiet discipline becomes real the moment a man stops negotiating with his health. No more bargaining with fatigue. No more justifying neglect with responsibility. No more delaying care in exchange for short-term productivity. A disciplined man understands this principle clearly. Some things are non-negotiable. Sleep is not optional. Movement is not a phase. Nutrition is not a reward. Checkups are not signs of weakness. These are maintenance, not luxuries. He simplifies instead of complicating. He chooses routines that can survive busy days, short walks instead of perfect workouts, consistent meals instead of extreme plans, early corrections instead of late repairs. This is how quiet discipline sustains itself. It doesn't demand dramatic change. It demands removal of excuses, of excess, of habits that quietly drain capacity. A man who protects his health does not seek control over everything. He seeks stability in what matters, because health is leverage. When the body is steady, the mind leads better. When energy is consistent, decisions improve. When pain is managed early, presence becomes reliable. This is how a man remains useful to his family, not occasionally, but predictably. Quiet discipline does not aim for perfection. It aims for durability. A man who lasts protects more than a man who burns out impressively. Every disciplined choice made today reduces the burden tomorrow, and the family may never know exactly why things feel calmer, why reactions are softer, why the home feels safer. They don't need to. The point was never recognition. The point was protection. And protection begins the moment a man decides that his health is no longer something he negotiates away. A man does not take care of his health to live longer for himself alone. He does it to remain standing for those who depend on him. Quiet discipline is not about obsession with the body. It is about respect for responsibility. Because the people who rely on you do not need promises. They need consistency. They need to know that tomorrow you will still have the energy to show up. That next year you will still be present. That when life becomes demanding, you will not disappear under the weight of preventable neglect. Strength is not proven in emergencies. It is built in ordinary days, in choosing rest when no one forces you, in correcting habits before damage appears, in treating your body as something entrusted to you, not something to be spent recklessly. A quiet discipline asks a simple question. Are you living in a way that allows you to keep standing? Because when a man collapses, his family doesn't just lose his strength, they lose their sense of safety. And safety is built long before crisis arrives. Every disciplined choice you make today is a silent promise kept, a promise your family never asked for, but deeply depends on. So take care of your health, not loudly, not dramatically, quietly, consistently, without negotiation. Because staying standing is not about you alone. It is about everyone who stands behind you.